Welcome to Healing from the Inside Out, where transformation begins from within. Host Danielle Marie White is here to guide you on a journey of awakening, healing, and authentic living. Each episode will explore the wisdom, tools, and stories that help us reconnect with our souls, step into our power, and live from our hearts. So now, please welcome the host of Healing from the Inside Out, Danielle Marie White.
Hello and welcome. I am so grateful you're here with us today. And last week, we were in the home studio and I was beginning to share about me so that you guys would be able to connect more with me, knowing my story and parts of my healing journey. As we start diving in, I'll be sharing more and more with you. We'll continue that story today. And before we begin, we are here in a remote location, just so you guys know. We'll be back at the home studio next week. We stopped in the story last week as I approached where I became disabled from Lyme's disease, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, and typhus, all tick-borne diseases. And I had had the Lyme so long that it had affected my electrical conduction of my heart and my nervous system. It affected me drastically, and I was only able to walk 10 or 15 feet without passing out or near syncope. And I'm a registered nurse, and the medical system really couldn't help me. And we tried some experimental treatments. They tried to control my heart through actually heart failure medication for a while. And that just did not sit with me. So I stopped it. But I ended up going into the spiritual realm. I built a prayer room underneath my stairs of my old house with only one door. And I placed my grandchildren's crib mattress in there and a little beanbag chair and a little bitty table just for devotion. And I spent hours every day in that little room, meditating on the word, learning to meditate at that time, and sleeping, spending rest, not doing, but spending time in the presence. And things started opening up again. I had spiritual insights and abilities that I remembered having as a child. And I firmly believe that we all have these abilities. They are our spiritual senses. And some people call them psychic senses because they are actually activated. But everyone has them. It's a matter of activating them, working with them, and trusting them. That is the best way. So today, as I continue our story, I built that prayer room and started receiving guidance. Things to do, tools to do, to heal myself, and places I was led to go in nature, to other healing modalities outside of the medical system. I was taught to go back to the basics, to go internal, to reflect on my life. I was also in a church at that time, and I'm being called to share this story with you. So in this church, it was a non-denominational church, and I was on the board of the women's conference with one of my daughters and several wonderful, beautiful women. And the preacher's wife, she was always nice, but I could always tell there was a distance, a pushing away type feeling for me. So I respected that, and I was just nice and kind and considerate. And we had these meetings. I was on the board for a few years. Excuse me. So one Sunday, her husband, the preacher, comes out and he says, "We're going to do things a bit different today." And he explained that the whole prayer team would go out into the audience and they would pick the person that they were called and bring them up on the stage. And everyone else that was in the audience, in the community, if they were guided to lay of hands, but from distance, healing hands, to send energy up onto the stage to those of us that were chosen. And the preacher's wife came to me and she said, "I wasn't expecting this, but I am called to bring you on stage." And normally at that time in my life, I didn't like attention. I didn't like to be seen. I would have been a complete nervous wreck being up in front of people. And all of a sudden, I stood up. I didn't say a word. I stood up and just followed her. It was like my soul was just leading me where I needed to go. So there were 6 of us called to the stage. And so we're sitting down, and the preacher stands behind us. And he's praying, and they bring out bowls of water. And she sets this bowl down, and he's explaining to the congregation that they are going to do a ceremony of washing of the feet. So he prays over us, and as they begin, I am just immersed in the presence. And I look down, but I don't see her. I see Jesus washing my feet. I don't see the preacher's wife. And in those moments, I felt so unworthy, so afraid of the shame that I carried inside of me, of all the parts of me that I had shut down, that I was holding into, all the anger, all the hurt in my life, all the things I was stuffing down inside of my body. And in those moments, all I could do was weep. I cried for 3 days. It was a miraculous experience that words will never be able to justify as the word that is coming through, but that's not even the right word. It's something that I will never forget for the rest of my life. It was so profound. And in those moments, I realized that everything I was being guided to do, being shown to do, was completely worthy. I was completely worthy. I had to spend a long time going through deep inner healing work. And I was led from spirit, I was guided to see a Reiki practitioner. And I had an intuitive energy healing session with her. And it impacted me so deeply that I went back 6 months later. It took me that long to process what had actually occurred and what was I was having to face within me that was stirred up. I then took Reiki courses because the fire in my hands had activated so much. I could feel energy pulsing through my hands, but I couldn't understand at that time what it was about, that limited knowledge. I had to spend a lot of time in prayer and meditation and paying attention to when they would just start going, when they were activated, and understanding, connecting internally to see trying to see what was going on. So I decided to take Reiki courses, and that opened my channel. That helped me to connect and allow energy to flow through me. I was later guided to take shamanic courses. To become a shaman, my study was a year-long process. It was facing the fears, the pains, the shames, and turning those from fears, pains, and shames into wonderful, beautiful gifts. And being able to see things in new perspectives, to understand, to see beyond the veil of what is actually going on inside of me and how I'm responsible for my own energy. But not only that, actually understanding how to work with myself, with my energy, to find that love and that healing within myself. So I went on this year-long adventure. It was hard. It wasn't easy. We don't like to face the things that we bury. We don't like to feel those things. We would much rather just shove them or whip them away with a wand, just push them away and avoid them. Avoid them. To not feel the emotions of things. And that builds up. It completely builds up. And as we go to a commercial break, we'll be back in just a few minutes and we will discuss how those things build up. And I look forward to seeing you. Thank you.
Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, Hope, and Support for Caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
And welcome back to Healing from the Inside Out. I'm your host, Danielle Marie White, and we were discussing the energies that we shove down and how those can create blockages in us and through us. And for me, what really came through the last couple of weeks, I always said, as above, so below, as within, so without, and focusing on our energy. But I now see it as above, so below, as within, so through. The blockages from the things that we shove down and we hold on to, we're not surrendering those. So in holding on to them, it's keeping us stuck. It's keeping us stagnant in that period of time. We may be trying to move on in parts of our lives and stepping through, but these blockages will continue to show themselves. They will continue to activate, to trigger parts of you inside of you. And these things I like to call blessing buttons because they really show us where our internal work is that needs to be done in and through the body. Our body speaks to us, and when we don't know how to listen to it, it will keep getting louder and louder, trying to get our attention, letting us know that something is off, something's out of alignment, that we need to go inside and find what is holding us back, what is keeping us silent. And in my process, I realized that I was not meant to stay small. I was shrinking my energy, trying to hide, isolating myself, because I didn't want people to see these parts of me, these parts that at that time I thought I was broken. Something must be wrong with me. I don't feel like I fit in. I don't feel like people understand me. I don't feel like they can actually hear me and be there. I don't feel like I had support. I didn't feel like I had love. And what I came to realize was that I no longer wait to be seen. I see myself. And in those moments, I know that when I see myself and I'm speaking from my heart, from my authenticity, and not from my mind, that's when I'm seen. That's when I'm heard. But I had to share those stories in some form or another. I had to introduce light into them to free up the darkness, the space inside of me, to crack it open and open those doors. So today, I would like to dedicate the lighting of this other flame in this candle to the one in you whose story never got to speak. What healed me from the inside out? A lot of things. And we will be exploring those things, those tools, the wisdom gained throughout the show. Come join us every Saturday live at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll be taking live calls. You will be able to share anything you feel called to share. You will be able to unburden yourselves if that is what you choose. You will be able to be seen, to be heard, to be loved unconditionally. I invite everyone into this sacred space. We are all made from the same particles. Let's find love, healing, compassion together. And let's share that with the world. My invitation to you today is if you've ever felt like your healing was invisible. This is for you. You are never alone. Never alone. And we want to bring you a space that is safe, that is warm, that is protected, for you to be able to come in just as you are, to find the love, support you need in your journey, to find exactly what you're looking for, to find yourself, to find your healing. I became the keeper of the flame, turning my pain into medicine. And I vowed to share it with the world. I vowed to be a tool, a vessel. And that's how Hello Future Healing was born. The things that healed me and brought me from looking death in the face and choosing to live again, to heal, to be able to walk and thrive, to be able to find my path, my purpose, my voice, my heart, and love for myself and compassion. Compassion. And in my healing, I became a mirror for others. Not to point out, to tell them what they need or to do, but a mirror for them to see themselves, to be able to start doing their inner work, to start their journey, their healing journey. At first, I wasn't comfortable with that because I still had to step into and through what I call walking through the fires and letting go of fears, of speaking, of being seen, of do I really have something to offer? Would I actually be accepted for who I am? And in all actuality, the acceptance begins within. I had to learn to accept myself. My spiritual tools that I embodied, that is what I want to help share. And in practicing those with you and for you. And I hope that this invitation reaches you, no matter when it reaches you. Does this resonate with you? Do you feel a call? Do you feel a pull? Or do you feel called to sit in it? There is no wrong. I invite you to come home to yourself. I invite you to find those pieces that you feel that are missing. I invite you to listen to other stories, to listen and see what ignites inside of you. Open to the stillness, giving yourself permission to be still and to connect. I invite you home. I invite you home. Come home to yourself. Come home to those who will accept you, unconditionally love you, and celebrate you. To hold space for you. To walk with you. Not before you, not behind you, but next to you. Through your own fires. Giving you a platform to share your stories, your experiences, your knowledge, your tools, your wisdom. I invite you to call. And if you feel called to connecting with me deeper, visit Hello Future Healing. On our website, there is connections that you can connect for a free 30-minute consultation. You can schedule sessions, all kinds of things. And we'll be introducing more and more tools for you that we are just going to post and share. As we close for another commercial break with our sponsors, I would invite you to come home to yourself, to take these few minutes and breathe. Take deep breaths in and out, breathing in light and releasing what no longer serves you. Open and feel and allow. Thank you. We'll be returning right after this break. We'll be exploring what part of your story is waiting.
Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network. Network and TuneIn Radio, as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
And welcome back to Healing from the Inside Out. I'm your host, Danielle Marie White. And as we return, we are looking into an invocation to come home to ourselves. What part of our story is waiting to be witnessed? As we sit in those moments, my hope is that something rose within you, that you were able to hear or witness a part of you. I feel the heart center just opening so big and radiant right now. Was it a part of an old you? Maybe even a part of your childhood? Who felt like they were forced to stay small, like they weren't allowed to be who they were, like they weren't allowed to express themselves how they wanted to be expressed. Made to feel small. Maybe you were told that it wasn't okay to cry. Maybe you were told that, but maybe what you told yourself was that it's not acceptable. This part of me is not acceptable. Or maybe it was punishment. Maybe some of you were told, if you're going to cry, I'm going to give you something to cry about. Maybe some of you were actually punished if you cried, or if you felt your emotions. What parts of yourself did you put in a capsule, in a box? What parts did you push away? For love, for safety, for security, for acceptance? What parts did you hide to make you feel worthy, to make you feel okay and accepted? What judgments are inside that box? What does that child, that teenager, that 20-something-year-old or older need? What in those moments did you actually need for yourself? To be seen, to be heard, to be witnessed. Now's the time to be seen, to be heard, to be witnessed. To let everything out into the light, not to hide the parts we judge of ourselves or others judge of us or others. A lot of times we are told who we are, who to be, how to act, what's appropriate, what's responsible, what we need to do with our lives, how we need to live them, how everything needs to look around us. The truth is inside of each of us for us. It is not a cookie cutter recipe that has been ingrained into society with little branches when stuff doesn't fit and trying to make it fit. What part of you is no longer waiting to be seen? What part of you is ready to bust out of that box? To declare, here I am. Who's ready to be seen, to be heard? Who says, here I am. Allow that part of you to speak. Witness that part of you. Love that part of you. Give understanding and compassion. These are all experiences that we've lived through. And where we were at that time is not where we are now. Maybe we couldn't keep ourselves safe at that time. Maybe we had no belief of our own authority. And I would like to say to the empaths out there, I see you, I hear you, I recognize you. And much of the suffering that you hold is not your own. It is not meant for you to hold, for you to carry, for you to burden. It is meant to be released, to be recycled, to free that energy up in the world. It is not meant for you to hold all as your own. And I invite anyone who is holding energy that does not belong to them to uncross their feet and place them on the ground. To open your hands, to close your eyes, and speak from your heart. I release and relinquish any energy that does not belong to me. I release and relinquish this energy across all timelines and all dimensions, past, present, and future. And so I trust, and so it is. Allow that releasing to take place, however it looks for you. If it's energy rising out of you and releasing, allow it. If it's energy building up inside of you that needs to come out, whether it's through a physical action, a body movement, vocalization, or even screaming, Allow what needs to come out to come out. Allow what needs to be witnessed to be witnessed. Open your heart. Take your focus out of the mind and place it all in your heart space. Allow these things to come through. A beautiful, beautiful shell. Shells are also representations of healing. And the spiral of life. Honor your energy. Honor yourself. Let's stop flowing like empty buckets, draining, draining, draining. With a bucket that has a hole in it, where we are waiting to be filled. And understanding that the feeling that needs to occur is the feeling of from ourselves to ourselves. So let's do the inner work. Let's plug the hole in the bottom of that bucket by doing the inner work. And then let's start filling our own buckets. But let's come together in this sacred space and not hold it to ourselves, but to share it. And as we step through these weekly get-togethers in the sacred spaces, I'll be traveling and bringing you to sacred spaces, allowing the energy to flow. If you ever notice when you go on vacation, you can feel the energy of the places you visit. You can feel the release of letting things go as you go to vacation. Letting stressors and worries and giving yourself permission to go on vacation, to relax, allowing yourself. Start listening to what you're being called for, what you're being called to. You may not know the reason why. It's in stepping in that trust and faith that they are revealed to you. Be open. Everything holds energy. Everything is made up of the same molecules we're made up of. So as we close today, what part of your story is waiting to be seen and heard? And I am your host, Danielle Marie White of Hello Future Healing, and we are here weekly. I love you all, and I thank you for being here. Mwah. I hope you have a wonderfully, beautifully blessed day. We'll be connecting again next week.
This has been Healing from the Inside Out with your host, Danielle Marie White. Thank you for being here to share, grow, heal, love, and inspire, and be part of the miracle. Saturdays, 11 a.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network, powered by B2 Studios.